Abazunga batita katongi nagula kwibukiza kateka kaibuku buna kapona neseko jove pameso yangwa maume baya iyaba maume iyaba maume
kateka wabantu twakulira lelo twakulira kukonke milimo shove ale filamba yena minta pengosile leti kume mopulo ndolole abale lilo wingi
iseko wingi mwakwete iseso wingi mwakwete Mwaya mwende wino tata wesu
Katusi muchi wakege Wali bomba kale Nomba mwatu katuleli lake Mupanga chiba
Benda Mupanga mwine Mwaya mwine
September, Wednesday. Thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast today. We are hosting Honorable Brenbner Changala, renowned civil society activist. You remember him from the days of the 90s. He's been a vociferous voice for the Constitution. He's been a strong voice campaigning for our people. He's been a voice for the voiceless. Today we host him to discuss the state of the opposition in Zambia, the state of civil society in Zambia. Civil society seemed to have been very, very active before elections in 2021. They were united in one voice. You know, they were very strong against threats of democracy and the rule of law, and they advocated that there should be a clean, just, incorruptible government. Well, it's been 4 years since Mr. Hakainde Hichilema took over, and the issues of corruption, issues of rule of law, threats against human rights have even heightened or even doubled from what they were in 2021. The trouble is that civil society is quiet, almost dead quiet. We've seen it rise occasionally, for example, on the issue of Bill 13 and Bill 7 and on the cyber laws, but essentially they've been quiet. And I thought that we could bring in Honorable Brenbner Changala to come and discuss with us. Let me just bring him in. Mr. Changala, thank you very much for sparing time. I know you've just driven from a meeting and just rushed for our broadcast. We thank you for the sacrifice. How have you been?
I'm good. Good evening to you and good evening to your viewers. It's nice to be on your podcast this evening.
Wonderful. Let's start with the state of the country. The human rights reports, human practices right report about our country are not good. The U.S. Annual country report, the 2022, 2023, and 2024 have been very damning against President Hakainde Hichilema. That is, he has shrunk democratic space, media space, and that is fostering and enacting laws that are threatening democracy and the rule of law. And then, extrajudicial killings and other human rights practices have been cited in this case. The other organizations like Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and the UN, the Human Rights Council, which interviewed you, have all depicted a dark picture on our country. Then the state of our country, corruption and other things. I thought that we could bring you. Why is civil society quiet in your view?
Once again, good evening to you and good evening to listeners and viewers across the globe. First, we must accept that the UPND administration came to power on the backbone of change. They came to power on the backbone of the restoration of the rule of law. And on the basis of that, and one looking at the state of the nation at that time under the Patriotic Front, many people came on board to support the UPND. Hence, the new dawn. It was supposed to be a new beginning. You must give it a background. The UPND and its leader, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, didn't have a good ride while in the opposition. This is a political party that was in opposition for 23 years. And that 23 years, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema was a leader for close to 15 and a half years, if not 16 years. So the goodwill by the people of Zambia was to start afresh, reset the button. And many of us who came on board, we didn't come on board with a blank check, which Mr. Hakainde Hichilema would fill in and cash. Not at all. We supported Mr. Hakainde Hichilema on the following benchmarks. Upon assuming office, he should have embarked on massive police reforms, massive judicial reforms, massive civil service reforms, and indeed parastatal reforms. We needed to start afresh, a new dawn, to build a just, equal, and free society in which all men and women will aspire in their various fields and endeavor and achieve their dreams and their goals. And when Mr. Hakainde Hichilema formed government, there was massive celebrations. And many of us who came on board felt a sight of relief that we are starting afresh, knowing very well that Mr. Hakainde Hichilema and his administration would not subject anybody to the misery and human rights abuses that he had gone through. Little did we know, just in the early days of his administration, that he had a different political agenda, totally different to what we aspired, totally different from our shared values and goals. He embarked on retributions. He embarked on sending us back into history of what the PF had done, which we all knew, and how many times he was locked up, of which we all knew. We wanted him to start on a new slate and get Zambia to greater heights. In the middle of his administration, we realized that Mr. Hakainde was actually envying the Patriotic Front. Because if you look at the police, he changed nothing. There were no police reforms. Where Kampiongo sat, he put Jack Mwimbo. Where Kanganja sat, he put another Inspector General of Police. And the chain of command and the rogue nature of our police remains unchanged. Then we go to the judiciary. The judiciary, when he appointed Mr. Mumba Malila, a renowned human rights defender, an exemplary lawyer, a teacher and lecturer with a good name that has been held in veneration, we all celebrated because we could see the coming of judicial reforms and the independence of the judicial arm of government. But in no time at all, we realized it was not to be. We were losing it. And this is where we are in the judiciary. It is an arm of government which is clearly today an appendage of the executive, and there is no separation of power. When you go to the to Parliament, the legislature, there is a circus. You have Madam Nelly Muti, a lawyer, behaving in a manner unprecedented before, curtailing debate in that house, abusing the opposition, and participating in the debates most of the time, when it's not supposed to be the case. Because a speaker is nothing but an umpire. A speaker is a moderator. A speaker maintains order in Parliament. Elected members of Parliament are there to represent their constituencies and legislate, in other words, make laws. But what we see in Parliament today is a circus. I thank you.
Honorable Brenbner Changala, the attempt to enact these laws, first of all, let's go to the issue of the Constitution and constitutional amendments. It was done in a way we've never seen in this country. And we understand there are still attempts to bring it back. The law on land, where they wanted an administrative officer to have powers to cancel title deeds. Then the cyber laws and cyber crimes. What do you make of these developments?
The current state of affairs in Zambia are quite frightening. In the manner they are pushing bills, totally to entrench their stay in power. The cyber crime bill, which is an act today, is an affront to human rights. And Mr. Hakainde and his colleagues, they know that very well. If you look at the Bill 13, where an administrator can cancel a title, that is extremely dangerous. And there we support people like Dixon Jerry, who singularly had to rise when they saw this imminent danger in which they wanted to use the registrar to have powers over land. That was not done in good faith, but in bad faith. The matter was not properly researched and consulted, but they wanted it to be a law. Look at the power of the registrar of society, where we are today with the matters of the Patriotic Front. A registrar of society is a junior officer. When the registrar refused to change the office bearers from the previous office orders to Mao Sampa, the lady was there, refused. But do you know what happened to her? She was fired. And this is the same comparison you must build with the registrar at the Ministry of Lands. That is a junior officer, below a permanent secretary, below a minister, and he or she can be bulldozed in cancelling a title deed of a political opponent. There are no safeguards. The situation we have today is the correct one. When you are aggrieved, you go to court. And please, don't mend what is not broken. One wonders why they are in a hurry to bring so many bills which are anti the people. And one wonders what they want to cure, other than being mischievous and untruthful. Thank you.
You have highlighted the issue of the Patriotic Front. I think there are few people, especially many have been bystanders. They think that this is just an ordinary fight between the UPND and PF, the long-standing fight between Edgar Lungu and Hakainde Hichilema. And many of people have stood by. They have not recognized that the attempt to destroy the biggest opposition party in the country, that the attempt to destroy an opposition party with the largest number of members of parliament from the opposition, that the attempt to decimate the Patriotic Front is an act against democracy, especially when state institutions and wings of government like the judiciary and parliament participate actively, when democratic institutions such as the Electoral Commission of Zambia participate actively. Do you also see it as just the perennial fight between the PF and UPND, or do you see it as a threat against democracy?
First and foremost, we must agree that Zambia is a constitutional democracy. That is the starting point. What has happened to the Patriotic Front vis-a-vis the Registrar of Society is a criminal act which is state-sponsored. As you might be aware, and your viewers, the Registrar of Society is under the Ministry of Home Affairs. And the Ministry of Home Affairs is in the arm of the executive. So the act by the registrar is the act by the state. These are men and women who have sworn to protect and defend the Constitution. And that's the very Constitution they have decided to assault. The issue of the Patriotic Front is not about Mao Sampa. It's not about Chawinga. It's about the breakdown in the rule of law. Breakdown in institution of governance deliberately done by the executive in order to defeat constitutional democracy and create a one-party state in which UPND and Mr. Hakainde Hichilema will remain in power unchallenged. This is a well-crafted way of governance. First, they create laws that pushes the people into silence. They create and make laws that withdraws people's rights, freedoms, and liberties, the right to communicate. They have criminalized the keyboard on the phone, on the laptop, on the iPad. They have criminalized free speech. As you talk, you don't know when you are breaking the law. Because as you speak, they will arrest you and charge you with hate speech. They will arrest you and charge you with seditious practices. But people must stand up and reflect. Zambia is over 60 years after independence. Why did the previous administration never employed these laws, which are colonial laws, hate speech and sedition? How come that these laws have only become effectively enforced under the 7th president? When did Zambians start practicing hate speech? When? When did we start engaging in sedition? Why now? There lies the answer. Everything is to scare the people, not to challenge the establishment. If you look at any reasonable and viable opposition leader, he is a guest of courts today. And the charges are not that they have stolen. The charges emanate from what they have said while they are marketing their political parties and their political ambitions. It is very sad that we can find ourselves in this situation. We voted for the new Dawn administration. As the name says, New Dawn. This is a political party that was in opposition for 23 years. This is a political party led by Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, who had lost elections 5 times, only to make it on the 6th time. Surely he must be gracious enough to lead the people in a manner that is reasonably respectful, in a manner in which he must acknowledge that he had a landslide victory. But you listen to him today. He sits at State House and broadcasts to the nation that some people of Zambia, they hate him. How can a man who got a landslide victory become a subject of hatred? Who does that? We criticize him not out of hate. We criticize him on his shortcomings. We did it to Edgar Lungu. We did it to Michael Sata. We did it to Rupia Bwezanbanda. There was no hate speech. There was no sedition. We did it to the late President Levi Patrick Mwanawasa. He never charged anybody with sedition or hate speech. If anything, Levi Mwanawasa will tell you, I have a thick skin. I'm not a cabbage. I am steak. Today, the criticism that we pile on Mr. Hakainde Hichilema is associated with criminal activities, sedition, hate speech. He is always seeking comfort in where he plays a victim all the time. He's a victim. Others are not victims. Let me remind the people of Zambia. Every time Mr. Hakainde Hichilema was arrested, you go back to your archives. He had a famous statement he used to make. I am being arrested because of where I come from. I'm being arrested because of who I am. And he was telling the people of Zambia, I never chose to be born where I was born. So these challenges we face today are well embedded in Mr. Hakainde Hichilema's head. These things of inferiority complex. When Kambwiri is arrested, it's because he broke the law. When Mr. Hakainde is arrested, it's because of where he came from. Can you see? He's always a victim. When this young man, Mwenda Kasonde, is arrested, it's because he's a lawbreaker. Today, those who are arrested, they have broken the law one way or the other. Under the PF and MMD, whenever Mr. Hakainde was arrested, it was because of where he comes from. These issues I'm raising must be interrogated because they have a foundation to current crisis and chaos. We are dealing with an administration that feels they have an entitlement to settle scores for what was done to them in the years that have gone by. And as such, the UPND and Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, they have lost 4 years. 4 years. On PF, they have lost 4 years on ECL. The president will never talk about what he's doing for this country without the Patriotic Front and without ECL. Even when he goes to commission projects which were left halfway by his predecessor, he will never even mention and acknowledge the effort and time that was put in those projects. He quickly he quickly celebrates them as his own ideas. He does not share the glory of this country with any other person other than himself. It's a very sad situation we find ourselves in. This is an individualistic kind of management.
Brenbner Changala, on this matter, I think there is no other civil society leader that has spent much time on this matter other than yourself, because you recognize it was a threat against democracy, the attempt, to take away the legitimate leadership of the Patriotic Front. You didn't recognize it as a fight between the two political parties. You identified it, and correctly, as a threat against democracy. Just what have you done, for purposes of our viewers, what have you done? I know you've written letters, I know you've banged doors, I know you've gone on air, but just what have you done in attempt to restore
let the nation
this
know.
crisis?
Let the nation know. When the issue of the Patriotic Front started on the 24th of October, 2023, when that illegal convention was held at Mulungushi International Conference, a lot of moves were done. People went to court, and many of us issued condemnation because it was an assault on democracy. There is no way an ordinary member can go and wrestle power from his own political party, which has a constitution. And clearly one could see that the state had a hand in it. First and foremost, the convention was held at a government facility. The convention was highly protected by the state police. The convention was covered by ZNBC. That is where they entangled themselves. Because at that time, there was an investor ceremony at State House, and there was a visiting head of state, a president of Tanzania. But cameras were removed from State House and directed at Mulungushi. and everything else is history. Now, when matters went to court, that's where you could see that this was a grand criminal act, well prepared by the government system. When the matter went to court, these matters of PF were being adjourned sine die, meaning the matter will be adjourned without a returnable date. Date to be advised later. And it started prolonging. And during that period, Mao Sampa started making changes there and there when matters are in court. And the Maos at that time would not even suffer any contempt of court. I decided to write to the Chief Justice. I detailed out the sequence of events and how the judiciary had become a co-adventurer. And the Chief Justice was gracious enough to respond. These are things which are not known to the public. And when he responded, he did make some interventions where he called the judge in charge, and the concerned judge, and the two warring parties, Mao Sampa and the Patriotic Front. And those meetings, if I remember, in attendance, it was Makebi Zulu and the State Council, John Sangwa. And at that point, we thought things would move plainly. But there was a hand which would not want these matters resolved. PF has got only one question which the courts have deliberately refused to answer. One question. Was the Mao Sampa Convention legal as per PF Constitution deposited with the Registrar Society? Was that convention legal? This is a simple question. But for your information, PF matters have never gone to trial. Not even one day. You file in, I think they have done it about 15 times. You file in, the matter is adjourned sine die. You file in your head, the matter is adjourned, the date to be advised later. Because this is a scheme that the largest opposition political party must die. I have come to a conclusion, in my humble way. This country is being run through a triangle of evil called government. A triangle of evil. And that triangle is the executive, is the judiciary, and is the legislature. They have all decided to be co-adventurers in the demise of our constitutional democracy. The destruction of the Patriotic Front is not the destruction of a political party per se. It is the destruction of what we cherish, all of us. Competitive politics, where ideas are on the market. And the one who sells his ideas better takes the day. What we are seeing today is evil. It cannot be said any better. If you look at the way the courts are operating, if there are matters concerning the opposition leaders, Patriotic Front, in the Magistrates Court, they are pushed at a rocket speed so that people are convicted. But when you want to resolve a matter of constitutional imperatives, you find resistance. This is a danger we face today. This country is divided and divided deliberately so. We have them and we have others. There are two streams here, them and us. 60 years after independence, we surely can we have this conversation of division on ethnicity grounds. No, not at all. Some of us, we thought this is history because the new generation, the millennia, they know no tribe. Because this is the only generation that has got Chanda Muvita, Mulenga Inambao, Piri Muguveza. This generation. Kaunda did his homework, intermarriages. And we have cross-pollinated across the country. So the tribe is dead. And this country, whoever is trying to restate a tribe on the basis that, I hear what they say in corridors to say, we suffered a lot, it's our time. We suffered a lot. How did you suffer a lot? Who made you suffer? This country has been a unitary state. Our forefathers fought for this country. Kenneth David Kaunda, Hari Mwanga Nkumbula, Simon Mwansaka Pwepwe, Yunia Jumwira, Mwira, Munugayu Mbwasparo, Mainza Chona, Mungoni Liso. You can name Narumino Mundia. You can go on and on. Samuel Ombirishi, Humphrey Mulemba. Surely, today you can talk about a tribe. The tribe is dead. Whoever wants to project a superior kind of ethnicity belongs to the dustbin.
Now,
because you go to northern province, they are Tongas.
That's a critical issue you have just raised, the issue of the current division in the country. Someone yesterday said Hichilema carries no vision but promotes division. That for the first time, the issues of tribalism and regionalism have been rising, especially in politics. And I love the way you've contrasted. To our people, this issue is dead. But in government and people that hold the instruments of power, they make it alive by tribal appointments and by promotion of their own areas. 60 years after independence, this should never have been a debate. It's like we've regressed. And the work of President Kaunda for 27 years seems to have just been trashed. And we are back to these divisions. Instead of talking about the vision of the country, we are talking about the division of the country. This is something you've also spoken about very, very strongly.
Emmanuel, you are an ambassador and you are a diplomat. So is your language. You are diplomatic. I am just an ordinary citizen trying to fight for other people's rights, freedoms, and liberties. It pains me so much that I have stood for Mr. Hakainde Hichilema while I was in opposition. When it was not fashionable, we walked hand in hand. I gave him a shoulder to lean on. I defended him. I visited him in prison. I made him my friend, my colleague in the struggle. But he knew who he was dealing with. That Brenbner believes in the truth and the truthfulness. When Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, before he could form government, we had private discussions on how he, and I know he's listening, he was going to beat Mwanawasa's record because of things that we were doing in the background. We wanted him to make the judiciary independent and functional. Let me give you a good example. This These are agreed social positions. When the president appoints the board of the Anti-Corruption Commission, ratified by Parliament, the board is supposed to appoint a Director General at SEC. And that Director General will have to be ratified by Parliament, and he will have security of tenure. The president, when he started talking about the fight against corruption, he was first supposed to change the pieces of legislation where the board of the Anti-Corruption Commission is supposed to be reporting to Parliament, not to him. And the moment the board is ratified by Parliament, he will have no power to dissolve that board. If he has challenges with the board, he must initiate a move at Parliament where the board must exculpate itself why it's doing things it's doing. Now, what did he do? When he won the election, with Miti, Simon Miti, the former Secretary to Cabinet, signed Gazette Notice 1123, which moved DEC, SEC, Financial Intelligence Center, the police, and the other law enforcement agencies to the office of the president. I raised an alarm. I said the SEC cannot report to the executive because grand corruption and criminality is domiciled in the executive. There is no way potential thieves and criminals can superintend on a law enforcement agency because they are suspects. They are potential suspects. That was the beginning for me to see that this fight against corruption was nothing but political, because the president didn't want this institution to be independent. This also goes to the state-owned enterprise. Our idea was, let's give an example of ZESCO. Our idea was the Minister of Energy to appoint a board for ZESCO. And that board must be ratified by Parliament. You change a piece of legislation. Then the board will appoint the managing director of ZESCO. The board will report to Parliament. It stops reporting to the minister. If there are issues with the board, the minister cannot just wake up with an hangover and dissolve that board. No, he must go to Parliament and raise issues that the board is not functioning properly so that the board can defend itself. Today, the minister appoints the board for ZESCO. The president appoints the managing director for ZESCO. That is a circus. That is a circus. First, the president appointed the minister. The minister went to appoint a board. Then the president goes and appoints a managing director and expects that managing director to be answerable to the board appointed by the minister. It's common sense. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. So this fight against corruption collapsed the day the president started doing his personal agenda. Because that agenda, I say it here and now, as I have said it before, is an agenda that was not known to many of us. The president had his own agenda. We had the country's agenda, where we wanted the institutions to be independent of the executive. When the president was coming, one of my desire for the president was to operationalize the office of the public protector, because the PF didn't do it. That office does exist, but it's moribund. It doesn't do anything. Your listeners must care to read the act of the public protector and its functions and its contribution to our governance system. That office, to this very day, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema has refused to operationalize it. And he doesn't want to talk about it. He goes to talk about cyberbullying because they insult him. He's very sensitive to people who say negative things about him. Very, very sensitive. Forgetting that a public figure is a target of innuendos and other pleasantries. You have to have a thick skin. Mind you, you hang on competing and recompeting, competing and recompeting until you won. Nobody forced you to be president. In fact, I can give you a challenge. If for some reason tonight you decided, after facing the face of God, you decided to resign tonight, you will see the celebrations in this country. That's when you will understand how much pain you have caused to the nation. For the time being, you won't see it because you have brought in laws that have silenced everybody. You have refused to allow the opposition for 4 years to hold rallies, to mobilize, to recruit new membership, to market their manifestos and give an alternative government. You have come on them like a ton of bricks where the policemen are in charge. And nobody put a policeman on the ballot. We put you on the ballot. You put yourself on the ballot. We voted for you. But you throw us to the jaws of the police. When we want, the opposition want to campaign, when civil society wants to mobilize, permit. I don't know who said we need a permit. We need to notify your government that we are awake and we want to challenge you. We are awake and we don't agree with you. We must be frank. We are not going to be speaking while looking for who is going to arrest me. No, Mr. President. Don't turn this country into the biggest jail in a democratic country. No. So when we look at where we are a divided country by design. We are calling for a national endeavor where all men and women of diverse interests can come together and we have a discussion, a conversation. Why are we where we are? Today we have 21 hours load shedding. And this government can't talk about it. They talk about the peripheral. They talk about the dead body of ECL. They divert us. They even go and confuse young children, students at the University of Zambia, to march and support failure. Who does that? You are finding joy in your own shortcomings, and you get young girls, young boys, and you take them to State House to celebrate failure. Who are you cheating?
Yeah.
It's very sad. Thank you, Mr. Mwamba.
Indeed. Before we open the phone lines, clearly there's a crisis in the nation, economic, social, political, threats against democracy, threats against the rule of law, and we clearly stand as a country at a precipice of a perilous situation. The people of Zambia are looking up to the opposition. What do you get as a civil society leader who is participating in trying to help restore democracy? What do you get? Because the alternative is the opposition. What are your views about the opposition, and what do you think should be done? Before we open the phone lines, I'd like you to take on that question.
Your line is cracking. Your line is jumping. I can hardly hear you.
Oh, sorry, Honorable Brenbner Changala. I was saying the state of the opposition is worrying. On your side, how do you think it is? Because the state of the country is worrisome. Threats against democracy, threats against the rule of law, then political and social crisis, our economy in a meltdown. The people of Zambia, through these sufferings, are looking up to their colleagues in opposition, because they're the only ones they can vote for. You don't stand on a ballot. The church does not stand on a ballot, and that is why we look up to you. We look up to the opposition to then be the alternative, be the shadow cabinet, shadow government. But what do you think is the state of the opposition? And what must they do?
First and foremost, we must admit, democratically, Zambia is going through a very difficult period, in that we are dealing with a government that is intolerant, that is abusive, that has captured everything. And it makes you, in the opposition, fight each other, and it does not create a platform where you can harmonize your ambitions, your manifestos, and your political sentiments. But I want to say this: the government is living in a comfort zone. They repeatedly say there is no opposition, so HH will have a free ride to State House. So be it. So be it. But I want to warn them. The opposition is not a registration at the Registrar of Society. The opposition is the people. Where revolutions are mounted, there are no registered political party. Where resistance comes, it begins first with chaos. It even consumes those who are refusing others to conduct themselves in an orderly manner. My advice to this administration, they will do better if they allowed free cross-pollination of ideas. Let allow people campaign, mobilize very freely. Let them go door to door. Those who want to have open rallies, let them have those rallies. It's their country after all. Now, to subject people to draconian laws and thinking that the best way to manage a country, you will regret. Because this silent majority that you have locked into a cocoon, you don't even know what they are thinking. The people who talk are better than those who are silent. That's my advice. People who talk are better than those that are silent. Look today, the battle for our democratic space is being fought in the diaspora, where your police cannot reach. What is said on air from the diaspora cannot be said at home. You mean, as a president, as a government, are you not ashamed that for the first time in history, you have people in exile? Are you not ashamed? People are running away from this beautiful country because they are scared of prison. Zambia has a justice system, which is an appellant system. If you lose a matter in the magistrate, you go to the High Court. If you lose, you go to the Court of Appeal. If you lose, you go to the final court, the Supreme Court. Today, I don't know who has changed this. I've been around for many, many years. Today, if you lose a matter in the magistrate court, you immediately start serving. Even if you appeal, you cannot be given. And this is a standard. It's not that some are getting it. You won't get bail pending appeal. So your appeal in the High Court is merely academic. Let's assume you succeed in the High Court, but you have already served. You know, these are things Mr. Hakainde Hichilema promised, and it's on camera, that when we come to power, all cases will be bailable. It's Mr. Hakainde. Nobody was forcing him to speak. He made this commitment. And one thing I can say here and now, you know, the trust levels for Mr. Hakainde Hichilema are at their lowest. Because he said too many things in the opposition just to paint his colleague Edgar Chagwalungu black. He really painted him black. Charcoal black. He was given the mantle. Now come and govern and do what you said. Completely opposite. And when you look at what is going on, you will think President Hakainde Hichilema is reading the Riot Act that was written by the Patriotic Front. Except he has improved on it. He has brought in other draconian charges, which have never been there in the last 60 years. They were used in the colonial days. He went to the archives, resumed sleeping laws, and used them in a democratic society. You see, when you lead people, first you must agree that you are a servant of the people. That's why you always, from time to time, go back to seek a vote to renew your mandate. But when you start even cheating yourself to show popularity, you start first the dais yesterday where he was addressing the students, that dais which is normally found at Freedom Statue when there is a commemoration of African Freedom Day, was now for the first time put at the stairs of State House. So it can tell you this was a pre-arranged celebration of failure. Because Zambians are not celebrating me. I will make my own celebration with the suffering students. So you...
In fact, Honorable Brenbner Changala, that matter has raised a lot of concerns. Students are known to fight for human rights. Students are known to fight for ordinary people. Students are known, to fight, for example, the crisis of the cost of living. That is a history of the University of Zambia. For the first time, we've seen the university get this record where they're being used as cadres for the UPND. Whether President Hakainde Hichilema is going to the University of Zambia to open or commissioning the hostels, or whether in this case the youths were marching after just an ordinary election at their university. The picture of university students has drastically changed to like children or tools for the ruling party. It is a matter of worry.
It is seriously worrisome, but again, it's a phase. Let's allow Mr. Hakainde Hichilema to please himself, because he likes such events where he's portrayed as a messiah. As you know, he likes saying whatever he does is always the first time. It's always for the first time. Forgetting he's the 7th president. You mean Kaunda didn't do free education? Why is it the first time? We had the best free education under UNIP. Then sometimes it's very difficult to understand what is going on. No wonder nearly every progressive thinker is in court today. Because there are many of us who can just sit while the doors of jail are wide open. We can just sit. We want Mr. Hakainde Hichilema to spend more time on the state of economy. Spend more time on the youth unemployment. Spend more valuable time on the energy sector, which is in disarray. You can't run a country 21 hours, no power. You can't. And then you are throwing figures around that the economy is growing at 6.5%. Then you are throwing statements around that Lusaka Stock Exchange is the best performing in the world. Who are you cheating? Tell this country if there is anything that is functioning and efficient so, other than the police. Tell this country if there is anything that is functioning and it will give us hope for tomorrow. Tell us. Because I am a citizen here. You are not going to cheat me that the economy is growing at 6.5% GDP. When all fundamentals of economic development have collapsed. I operate in Chinika. 80% of companies in Chinika are closed. So, where are you getting these figures? And in any case, when Mwanawasa's economy was growing at 6%, 6.2%, we used to feel it. He never used to tell us. We could feel it that this economy of Levi Patrick is functioning. When Rupia Banda was running Zambia, I'm a businessman. You could feel it that this economy is alive. The economy of Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, whether he puts in ECL and whether he puts in PF, is dead. If he's not dead, he's in comatose.
Wonderful, Honorable Brenbner Changala. To our dear listeners, I would like to invite you now to make the phone. The phone line is there called the WhatsApp line. The phone lines are open. We are hosting Honorable Brenbner Changala, very strong, prolific, and vociferous civil society leader. His voice remains strong. And he supported the UPND very, very strongly. But he raised, like he said, he was among the first one to even raise the first criticism when law enforcement agencies were grouped together to be supervised by State House under that statutory instrument 1173. This was a government early on, 2-3 weeks old, and Brenbner was among those that immediately raised alarm. So let's hear your views, let's hear your contributions. Hello, caller. Yes, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Thank you so very much. I'm Kefas Mwapem Sonda, an advocate for industrialization and net development.
Yes,
calling
Kefas.
you from Kabwe Central Province. Good evening, Honorable Brenbner Changala.
He can hear you.
Thank you so very much. So insightful and so knowledgeable he is, and truly he's been there to fight for human rights. I have a question for him. When UNIP lost power in 1991, we saw the MMD coming through, and under the leadership of President Jacob Titus Shluba, may his soul rest in peace, we saw the destruction that was pressed upon UNIP, and UNIP went into extinct. Barely after almost 20 years, there was a change in regime. We saw the MMD coming, the Patriot Front winning power in 2011, and eventually MMD suffered the severe punches the same way UNIP suffered the severe punches under MMD. Now that we are under the UPND, we have seen the Patriot Front that could have destroyed the MMD. We are saying the Patriot Front has been destroyed by the MMD, the UPND. Honorable, are we going to continue seeing the same trajectory whenever there's a change of a government, that anyone that could have ruled this country upon change of government they have to go into extinct. Is that democracy? What do you think should be done constitutionally so that a party that leaves power may survive even for years to come, so that they are able, even when they are in opposition, to give checks and balances? Secondly, looking at the cost of living, going to 11,000 for a family of about 5, how best can we handle our resources to improve the well-being of Zambians? Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba.
Good evening.
Good evening, Comrade Brenbner Changala, the freedom fighter. I know he is listening. Zephania here, I'm calling from Lusaka, Zambia. What I want just to say is that indeed we know that UPND and President Hakainde Hichilema, they don't want opposition, especially the PF, the biggest opposition political party in Zambia. They are trying to make sure that it goes into abbreviation, into oblivion. But what I want to say and to remind the president is that I want just to remind him that when there was that judgment of ineligibility case, the country went quiet. And again, the issue of President Edgar Chagwalungu not being buried, which they have been using in the courts of law, saying the public interest, Zambians are also quiet, meaning they are not happy with what is happening. Now, my question to Brenbner Changala is that you have been in the forefront during the ECL, when he was the president, to organize the forums and so forth. What are we going to do now, since we know that the current president doesn't want checks and balances? Why can't you organize those forums you used to organize the union and the church leaders, so that they can come together and speak on behalf of the Zambians? I know that you are capable of doing that. Come out in the way you used to be strong during PF, and I think you can still do it. And we believe that you are the person who can help the Zambians, that they can have that second liberation. Thank you.
Thank you, Zephania. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Thank you very much. I'm from AI. I'm calling you from Lusaka, Zambia.
Yes, sir.
AI. I prefer to remain anonymous.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The first thing we do is to thank you again, Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba, for this excellent platform you have created for us. The second thing is to thank Honorable Brenbner Changala for the excellent work that he's doing. I want him to know that we are always praying for him. Whenever we see him escorting people who are being persecuted in the courts and everywhere, we are praying for him. He's always there for everybody. So we thank God for people like Brenbner Changala. These are people who give me a lot of hope that indeed there's something to hope for in this country. Well, I want to state that you were not the only one who were duped in supporting President Hakainde Hichilema. All of us thought that we had a messiah. Even us who were the fiercest critics of his, we thought that he would shame us by performing excellent. And for your own information, even Joe Biden was duped. He was at the General Assembly where he was saying in Zambia they have elected a messiah. He was on the UN General Assembly. And when now the files of dead human rights commissions, dead human rights records started reaching his office, that's when he cancelled his trip coming to this country. President Hakainde Hichilema has brought this country back to default mode. Honorable Emmanuel, we are back in default mode. And I'm surprised because it's like some of the opposition political parties, it's like they're not smelling the coffee. What is there is that President Hakainde Hichilema knows that he has no politics in him. That is why he's weaponizing state institutions to do politics for him. That is what he's doing. He has no politics. He can't convince anybody. You can see that this government, we don't even know some of the ministers. One of his MPs was rejected. in church. On his own face, when he was in church, he was rejected. So what we are stating really is that we are in massive mercy, and we are asking for these opposition political parties to wake up. Let them not think about the funding that they are receiving. Let them think about that widow who is suffering in Mrs. That orphan who is suffering in Kanyama compound. Public service is about the people and not your personal interest. So indeed, what we are saying is that this personalization, weaponization of state institutions, where you are every day locking up PF people every day, everyone who is facing a case is going in. But you see, Zambia is a Christian nation, we are playing usiku na mzua. The same way you are busy locking up PF officials, that is the same way we are going to lock up UPND people. You are busy, your ministers are busy. Now we are reporting grand corruption. You see, Freddie Membe said that at least the other political parties were stealing change. These people, they are stealing the entire bank. That is what is happening. Look at what happened with Vendetta. Look at the pollution that is there. Look at and instead of being on the side of the people, they are on the side of people who are polluting our people. This is to look for a safer term. One would say that it's an undertaker murderous government. You can't be supporting a mining company that is polluting your own people, and you are there. You are saying these people are right, covering it up. You saw what happens with the issue of milk that are the poison. They were busy supporting the people who are the millers instead of supporting the people who put them in office. People of this country are resolved to correct this mistake. Don't they have any shame that 4 years you are failing to resolve just a funeral arrangement? But you see, in conclusion, Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba, Sagambe Maningi, because we were all sufficiently warned. There's no one who can say that we didn't hear. You heard what KK told you. Honorable Brenbner Changala and the Ambassador Mwamba. He told you, KK, that I fear this man to do what? To divide this nation. That's exactly what is happening now. As if that was not enough, Michael Sata came to you and told you that a person who has never been a branch section chairman, an MP, he cannot be a president. You can see what is happening now. Even when they come out of the aeroplane, they forget to greet the defense chiefs. What do you think that is? How do you forget to greet the defense chiefs? Because government is the defense chiefs. There's no statecraft whatsoever. And as if that was not enough, Mwanawasa came on top. He told him, say, big man, come here. Hakainde, I teach you statecraft first. He refused. And now, and now you see Manja Maloza Metiwa Namani. Muntu wachoka Mundeke is forgetting to greet the defense chief. He's being reminded by a civilian, a first lady who is invited to Bamdala. The state chiefs, and you saw how he came. He came out. You saw how he came out. He started, you saw how he was greeting them. He can't even shake his hand. He can't even shake their
Thank you, my brother. Thank you very much for
the abomination that we have found ourselves in.
Yes.
So we were sufficiently warned all that we didn't see it coming, all of us. But this mercy has to be corrected next year. And we are appealing to all these opposition political parties. Muhare Lungu has plainly put it to say it's delusional, which borders on madness for any person, single political party to think that you can go and win these general elections alone. There's no one who can go and do. When you are campaigning alone, it simply means you are campaigning for this government. That's what has happened.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this platform.
Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba confronts the truth behind what may be Zambia's darkest environmental catastrophe, the collapse of the Copperbelt Dam that poisoned the lifeline of our nation, the Kafue River. From the Copperbelt through Central Province and into Lusaka, more than 7 million Zambians depend on this river for survival. Today, that very lifeline carries death. Who bears the blame? Did the government of the Republic of Zambia commit an act of treasonable negligence by failing to protect its people ordered a Chinese mining giant unleash one of the most inhuman and catastrophic crimes in history. An act so reckless it could threaten a third of Zambia's population. The questions are grave. The answers may shake this nation to its core. EM verified. Monday night. Do not miss it.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
My name is Uncle Jay.
Yes, Uncle Jay, make your contribution.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Changala, a great Zambian son of the soil. He has really articulated issues. I want also to acknowledge the previous caller. I know him. These are people that have been speaking on radio since 2001. I've known that man. I know he didn't want to disclose his name, but these were great, and he's a great person. We are in trouble. We are in trouble as a nation. We have a leader who wants to receive praises, at any expense. He wants to receive praises when there is absolutely nothing to show for on the ground. It's so unfortunate that we have a country that is literally running on propaganda. Truth is fallen to UPND. They cannot stand truth, but lie after lie. Our people are suffering, Ambassador. This is gospel truth. Go on the ground. All right? The only way, and he knows this is why he's trying to do everything possible to destroy the opposition, especially the Patriotic Front. He knows they are the people that can actually unseat him. This mistake, I'm appealing to the Zambian people. We need to correct this mistake next year. We cannot continue as a country to have a leader who is full of himself and nothing for the country. A leader who tells you to say this is white even when it is red. And he wants to convince you. If you refuse to say it is red, he will send you to prison. What kind of a leader is this? For the very first time, we are experiencing serious political persecution. I understand what others were talking about in terms of, the MMD, going the way they worked. It's totally different from what we're experiencing today. This is targeted, and he knows he's just dealing with the financial mass of Patriotic Front. But I've always stated that PF is an ideology. The more reason it has failed to die. No serious people, apart from, those foolish people that he's using as stooges. No one who is serious has migrated to UPND. Why? They understand. The people have already decided, the minds of the people are for the idea that indeed we need to take our country back to normalcy. In conclusion, I'm so disappointed because the highest learning institution was an institution that decided change in the past. When the student spoke on their podium, we would see the influence that they would have. But the current crop of students, these high institutions, they've been reduced to secondary school level in their capacity, where they'll just praise. They don't even carry any weight. Those days when you would hear students are rioting because things are not okay in the country, the government would shake. Not now. They've been reduced to secondary school pupils who would just make noise and nothing, no influence at all. It is so sad. We need to restore our country back to normalcy. We cannot continue like this for another 5 years. No. I thank you, Ambassador Mwamba.
Thank you very much. Let me take the last call for Honorable Brenbner Changala to respond to. Then we might take another set before we close. Let me just take the last two calls just to allow our people to contribute. Then Honorable Brenbner Changala takes the response. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
This is Moyo from Livingston.
Yes, Wamuewa from Livingston.
Yeah. Good evening, Ambassador. Here in Zambia, it's in the evening. Then good evening, Mr. Honorable Brenbner.
Yes, yes.
I'm so happy with how he's coming out in terms of elaborating issues. Most of us now, we are understanding issues as they are. Now, what I first want to talk about is the media. The media. The media, Ambassador, I think in Abaturekereshamwe, and the media is there to inform, educate, and entertain. Now, when the part of informing, I think the media is a disappointment, and I would want maybe the media to do more, especially on sensitizing people, because it's a media that even influences the opinions of the people. Look at the issue of the cyanometals, that one, where that accident happened in February, only to get it from the international media. Where is our media? The media, my problem the media is aware. And I'm saddened because the media is like it has been tagged along to support the illegalities of this government. You discover that a lot of issues, even the issues of the patriotic front in the courts of law, the media is not really following it up. I don't know what's happening. So by media, you are the voice of the voiceless. Come out, speak on behalf of the Zambians, inform Zambians of what is going on so that they can be able to make informed decisions. The other thing, Ambassador, is that what I can say with full emphasis is that the UPND are cowards. UPND are cowards. Why am I saying so? It's because they want to be opposition, but now I can't. See what is happening to PF. They are saying that there is no opposition in Zambia. But PF, but PF now I can't moruna mabokuna babakaka. Erobena bade fokula yumfati baiteka.
Thank you, Wamuewa. Thank you very much, Wamuewa. Yeah.
Let them make sure that the PF starts function according to the way it's supposed to function. Let them not hide in Chavinga. If they know that they are politically strength, they are politically strong, they can make a PF. They love a PF, and if they can only do that, that's when maybe some people like me are going to say, oh, these are not cowards. But as I'm talking to you right now, UPND they are cowards. So, basically, background, the other thing, Ambassador, is the issue of tribalism. The issue of tribalism, I'm not talking about it in terms of the country or maybe the ruling party. I'm talking about tribalism, which is almost being perpetuated in the patriotic front. There was some remarks from one of the senior members of the party, Bamumbipiri, where she was saying that only the Bemba and the Enyanja can rule in PF. Now, we were coming from who is in Livingston, and when you look at the composition of the PF in Livingston, we've got a lot of Lozi people, we've got a lot of Karwari, we've got a lot of Tongas, and they support the Patriotic Front. Now, if we are saying that we will fight to take PF, I've got people like, for example, Mr. Muvita. Mr. Muvita is a constituency member in PF Livingston, We've also got one of our vibrant gentlemen who even attempted to contest on PF ticket in 2021. His name is Ikuka Muleta. He has a heart for the people. He has a heart and he loves the party. Now, if you are saying that PF babe manaba kuchipata, nga abantu fya paravena Ikuka, avena mubita, avena rubinda, tama avika pesa. So I would actually urge the PF Central Committee and the team to say that those who are perpetuating the politics of tribalism, they've got no space in Zambia. Because ngatwaranda tibabe manawa kuchipata. Nga kwa bantu fwe southern province. Mutupangire mutupangire olubulitule lwana abantu abakaire. Nga mwayibukisha wino even in apachiro chabarungu. Bala ndafa ati umuntu umefumeko. Not tribe, umuntu umo. The rest of the Tonga people, they are peace-loving Zambians. And most of them, I do business with them very, very well. So the issue of tribalism in the PF, I think that must come to an end. And then the other thing is that the issues of going for on the part of the PF, going for convention. I think if we've got those
Bamwewa. Yeah, Bamwewa. Yeah, let me just take the last call so that we can allow others. And what you said about Mumbipiri is not something I can confirm. I don't know if Honorable Mumbipili said that. It would be regrettable if she did, but I'll verify. Let me take the last call before we allow Honorable Brenbner Changala to answer. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Okay. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
This is Mr. Teska calling from Lusaka.
Yes, Mr. Teska.
All right. Okay. So now, quickly, I'll just talk about the issue of rule of law in Zambia. There is nothing. Because if I'm to give you a simple example, sir, when we talk about the PF this time around, they don't have any chance to stand even in by-election just because of the cruelty of this UPND government by the President HH and his team. One good example, I'm going to give you a simple example. If you can quote Article 53 of PF Constitution, it says, in case PF president has resigned or died or has been removed to be the president, meaning that president must do what? Must choose the secretary general. Now, if you can talk about what happened that time when our former head of state, Edgar Chagwalungu, resigned, he appointed the acting president who is given Luwinda and Secretary General Rafael Nakachin, and these people they are mandated to do their functions of the president of the patriotic front, of which they did, meaning they were supposed to do what, to discipline those people who found wanted within the PF itself, of which what they did, it was very much correct. But this time around, it's like the UPND are using judiciary to do what, to fight their opponents who are PF and these other political parties, which is not good. It's a sign of bad leadership, such that going forward things will be worse, because what UPND is doing now, others who are facing such challenges in the near future, they also do the same, which is not correct.
Thank you very much, my brother. Let me take the other call so that we can quickly. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Good evening, Ambassador.
Good evening, please. Caller, tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
My name is Anonymous. I'm calling you from the land of AI.
Yes, Anonymous.
Yes, I just want to disagree with the previous caller, not the immediate last one, the one before him, who said that the Patriotic Front is for Bembas and Nyanjas.
Yeah.
And a quick note, the Secretary General of the Patriotic Front, Honorable Nakachinda, is Tonga. The acting president of the Patriotic Front, Honorable Given Luwinda, is Lozi. What is he talking about? That's not fair. Myself, I am a member of the Patriotic Front. I'm very involved in Patriotic Front processes. And I'm neither Bemba and I'm not Nyanja. It's not true. Let's not try to create narratives that are negative about people or about political parties to advance whatever ideology or whatever ideas that we have. There's nothing like tribalism in the Patriotic Front. We can list so many members of parliament who are in the Patriotic Front, and they are multicolored in terms of tribe, coming from everywhere, from Northwestern, from Western Province, from Northern Province, from Luapula, from everywhere. So it's not true, and let it be on record, let everybody hear it, that the Patriotic Front does not condone tribalism, and members of the Patriotic Front come from everywhere in the country. This is a party of grassroots from everywhere, from Sioma all the way to Chipata, all the way to Chiridabombwe, all the way to Kasama. Everyone from everywhere. It's not true. And he came in with this thing, saying something nice about PF, and then he goes on the attack, accusing PF of tribalism. It is wrong. Let's stop this type of politics in this country. That's all I wanted to say, Ambassador. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Mr. Moa from Livingston is a regular caller here, and he was attributing those remarks to Mumbipiri. And I don't think, I haven't heard Mumbipiri say that. I haven't heard that report. It would be wrong to, if she did, it would be wrong for her to say that. Honorable Brenbner Changala mwanjelela ko chila diva pano so monena mafoni yonse yalelila chila diva, but just Keniko, at least you have a feel of what the people wishes
what
to say.
you do, there are too many questions there. I don't even know where to start from. So you have to guide me. You must have been writing, Bwana Mwamba.
Yeah. Essentially, I think you can answer generally. People are concerned about the state of democracy. People are concerned about what has been happening to the Patriotic Front. People are concerned with the type of leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema in the manner that he's using and abusing students, and and just generally the concentration. The last 4 years have been not on the economy, not on other things, but on fighting political fights.
Yeah, first and foremost, I'm very happy that Zambians are becoming alert. There is one matter that we must appreciate, especially some of us who stood shoulder to shoulder with the current president, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, while in the opposition. Mr. Hakainde Hichilema lost elections, I think 5 times before he won the last election, because there was no alternative but Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. It was a two-horse race. And this is the situation we face today. We are back to square one. And this desperation which ruling parties create is what makes us choose bad leaders. Because at the moment, the haste and the urgency that Mr. Hakainde Hichilema has created, I can assure you, out of desperation, Zambians will vote for anything that is on 2 legs. Because Zambians have decided. They know who to get rid of. What they don't know yet is who is coming in. And this is where we have to be very careful. What impresses me, despite the gagging, using cyber laws and the heavy hand of the police, Zambians are slowly coming to terms that they need to reclaim their country. This country is in wrong hands. One of the things I said at the beginning of Mr. Hakainde Hichilema's administration, and I said it to one of his aides, was
has power gone? Has power gone? Okay, what I'll do is I'll take the cause as my team is resolving the issue where Honorable Brenbner Changala is. Hello, caller, please tell us your name, and we are hosting Honorable Brenbner Changala. We might have a power cut, but we can go ahead with the broadcast.
Thank you so much. I'm Honorable Given Katuta Mwewa. the MP for Chiengi.
Oh, thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Hello, Mr. Mwamba.
Bamwamba.
Yes, Honorable Brenbner Changala, it's good you are back. It's good you are back.
Yeah.
We have Honorable Given Katuta Mwelwa, the MP for Chiengi. She has a question for you. So while you were out, I used the opportunity to pick her call. Honorable, proceed with your question.
Thank you so much. Bamwamba, Nalanda Muchumimba, and then I will speak also in English. Your call here, she's about preparing tribal remarks or whatever, being tribal. I have a big concern with what's happening in our country. Bamwamba, what is going on? I'm really a broken person. One, why is it that any dissenting voice should be shut up with either sedition or tribal remarks? Are you sure only those who are politicians who are in the opposition are the ones who are so tribal? Secondly, the truth must be told. It's about time that the whole country started discussing this issue of tribalism openly. And we also point to the people who've been so tribal, and yet they've not been reported anywhere. Okay? Bamwamba, nechirenkalipa chakwe bati uwalanda kufe chimo as long as you are not UPND a member or you commit an offense or you've not committed an offense, ngolalandikisha, they'll come up with something, trump up charges to make sure they use their Facebook media, they use even the government media houses to make it look like you are this when you are not, so that they can have you locked up. Are you sure about Brenbner imona limfati muliba civil rights whatever? Are you sure if PF treated by UPND the way they bachita treat abantu uwase ku court nikumuya nishikusha walaya na amkufwa, whether you're guilty or not, go ase ku court, then you'll be found guilty. Bushefishile chitika muchalo chesu umuntu kutakano kuyisosha uwayisosha timoneni chite ena naba acquitted of corruption charges. Same cases bambi baye kulya atiyo kuingira nombanga walanda kofenge fifine na iro chinabesa papa mwishi atulela you're being tribal. They should stop gagging people. When we want to tell them, I saw the headline newspaper, I think his Diggers, where the president was saying, you should be telling us where we're making mistakes. Now, when we want to point out, moneni, umufazi abantu chirifi, uzedara chirifi, recruitment of this chirifi, you have to balance up once Zambians. I'm a member of parliament in Chiengi. No one has even informed me that I should use my office to bring some join a ZRA, what's this, ZNAs for voluntary work. No one. It is just wrong. Now my question is, well, I'm a civil rights, I'm an NGO or whatever, then what are you doing to help the Zambians? Because for me, I'm really broken because a person in Chiengi, all these press briefings doesn't make any sense to them. They don't even listen to them. Lastly, I want to talk about what is your take on the quality or caliber of the so-called university students. I've been told, I heard what the president was saying of what do you call this, free education, even in the university. Does it mean only those who will be in the government institutions will be entitled to free education? What about others? Are they not Zambians? So I just want to train upon my rights, Yama Zambians. You can even tell, They will make sure they will come up with something. You said this, just like the way I'm saying this. You will see the headlines. Chenge MP said that. Chenge, and they will be doing that. The police is already on you. But look at some ministers who have bluntly said that they will only help these who are from these other 3 provinces who you have development. If we talk, you find yourself in court. This is not fair, and this is not the Zambia that we want. Now, Mwema civil rights, what are you doing to help many who are being bugged? Because no one can. Tropecho Walanda, Mumbipiri said this, Katuta said this. Oh, they're being tribal. Who is being tribal? Who is being tribal here? When we want to question, doesn't mean we're being tribal. Something that we are questioning is because this never used to happen since 1964.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Honorable Katuta. That was Honorable Given Katuta from, she's an MP for Chiengi. She's a second termer. She went to Parliament in 2016. Honorable Brenbner Changala, please continue and finish your thoughts and then offer your last remarks.
Yeah, thank you very much first to the Honorable. We had lost contact. What I was saying is that I was speaking to one of the president's head that my fear of all the years that you have spent in the opposition is to see people start missing the Patriotic Front. And I was told it will never happen. I said, yes, it will never happen if you conduct yourself properly. But what we have come to see today is a two-tier justice system, or it's a one Zambia, 2 systems. If you look at the jailing of Chimbaka Mbwili by this administration for hate speech that he attacked the people in Southern Province, I can tell you here and now, Chimbaka Mbwili might be in jail. But what he predicted and what he said is exactly what is happening. Except he's in the opposition, and the people he was confronting with a prophecy which we all fought, by the way, that time, are in power. And they have used the state power to lock up Chimbaka Mbwili. The other one is Madam Edith Nawakwi, the late, may her soul rest in peace. She gave this warning that this man, we know him very well. If you elect him, he will mess you up. It's a pity Madam Nawakwi is dead. But I do believe with the harassment she went through while she was sick, she's supposed to be behind the bars today. Now, Madam Katuta, this tribalism they are charging you and charging all and sundry is scaremongering. They don't want you to discuss their shortcomings. They don't want you to discuss their behavior. They don't want you to discuss the division in the nation. They want you to portray Zambia as a united country while you are under siege, while you are being abused. They don't want you to complain. When you complain, they have a dedicated police section in room 229 that hunts everybody. I've been hunted by those people. Today, complaining amounts to hate speech. Today, complaining amounts to seditious practices. And do you wonder that these charges of hate speech and sedition are only targeted at a certain section of citizens from a particular area? It doesn't affect certain areas. Look at those who insulted the ECL in the Northwestern, those who who are on camera, they were on camera that they needed to circumcise ECL. The police have never summoned a single one. Look at those gentlemen, or rather those thugs, who were singing and insulting in the presence of the police when ECL was escorting the madam to DEC. But any opposition found in such a situation will be guest of the state. That is one side. You are arrested, then you are dumped at the magistrate's court. You need to do also an inventory, if not an audit. Who are the magistrates today? Who are they? That is a homework I give you. Today, going to court is a huge risk. Going to court is a huge risk, because they have turned the institutions of governance into slaughterhouses, where they are using the law to lock up political opponents. When the police charge you and take you to court, first look at the way they object to adjournments, because they want you behind the bars as quickly as possible, so determined to jail their fellow citizens. This is the worst I have ever experienced. I have been in police custody. I have been taken to court. Where you see me, I have 8 knowledge. But this is the only time I see the justice system becoming compliant to another arm of government, the executive. You can even see the magistrates when he's listening to your matter that here I'm wasting my time. Why don't I just walk to jail direct and straightforward? This is because of the state of our judiciary, which is predictable. That's why people are running away from justice and jumping bail. This was never heard of. People running away from justice system. It was never heard of. But today, the moment you are arrested, first the police will refuse to give you bond. Bond which was been promised to you by the law on one side, and by Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, who said you are arrested at 10 hours, 14 hours, if you have surety, you are released. Today you spend 18 days. They don't even want to listen to the surety. You just have to rot in the cells. There is a sadistic behavior where they want to inflict maximum pain on those they don't like. This country is divided. Now, before I close, I must not run away from a pertinent issue here. The death of ECL. ECL lost power in 2021. And he has not lived pretty before his death. Mr. Hakainde Hichilema used every platform where he's handed a microphone to abuse ECL without provocation. Everything it was about ECL, alebwererapo, akesa ikalapesa. And ECL had a powerful tool. He never responded to this man. I personally pleaded with the president. ECL is at his lowest. Can you leave him out of your conversation? Can you talk about what you promised the people of Zambia? ECL was abused even by ministers. Not all of them, because there are some decent ministers there. But by even these media people, by people from the Ministry of Information, they started treating him like a criminal. He goes jogging, the police are there. He goes to church, they really wanted to humiliate him. But the end result, which has shocked everybody, is that Zambians don't like injustice. The popularity of ECL started building up from the booing at Heroes Stadium. It started building from zero to something else. That made even the current administration and the president very uncomfortable. There are moments I begged the president that can you make a call to ECL, just greet him. Just say, how are you coping up with your retirement? Now, because certain people were brought up in certain ways, ECL was left to be vulnerable. Can you imagine? ECL is a former president entitled to security by law, which was removed because he had come back to active policy. Granted, yes. But then they went to give security to people like Chavinga. I don't know what law they are using. Instead of giving it to the former president, he decided to humiliate ECL further by taking all his family members to court for owning property that is beyond their reach. Those people were in a privileged office, which Mr. Hakainde himself is in. And as I speak, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema is receiving favors from other people we don't know. Because these government offices which you fight for every day, crime is committed under the escort of the state police, those who escort you there. They even protect you from what you are doing there. You can claim to be an angel, that is for another day. But the problem with this country, when you leave office, the same police and security that is protecting you, that's the same that will tell whoever will come after you to say, can you follow this man? He did ABCD, ABCD. What the president needed to do was the application of wisdom. I suffered, he abused me, let me pray over it, and let me run this country as it were. Nobody touches the family, abuses the children, and says, me, I was very good to ECL, I never lifted his immunity. You did, you disgraced him. You undressed him. So my last clarion call today reflect on the cases in Johannesburg. The family doesn't want you near their cherished relative. Withdraw the cases. Let them do what they want to do with the body. This story of public interest is fake. There is no public that is interested. That's why they are quiet. If you did make a survey, you will realize that 75 to 80% people will tell you, it's enough, let ECL be buried in Johannesburg. It will be a story for another day. Please, allow ECL to be buried. It will add no value. That honor you want to give him, where's still you want to come and speak at his funeral? When ECL died, whether Tassila announced the funeral, you should have addressed the nation, not a Facebook post. You should have addressed the nation, eulogized ECL, asked the people to remember ECL of what he did for this country and for who he was. And to a certain extent, show remorse. That is a pity you die without you and me reconciling. That's what wisdom entails beyond the literature of Christianity. You win nothing. Even if the South African court gives you the body, I don't know what you are going to do with it. Let go. In life, you must know when you face things that you can't change, you let them pass. Because I tell you, this issue of ECL, if it had happened under Levi Mwanawasa, it was going to be solved the same day. If it had happened under Rupia Banda, it was going to be resolved the same day. If it had happened under ECL, it was going to be solved within hours. Humility. Don't push people to the limit. You haven't shown the people you lead whether you had an emergency cabinet meeting to resolve the repatriation of ECL's body. What role did the cabinet play? Or it was a personal decision, and because you have got state power, everything goes. And all the time, you must win. You have never said any kind words on ECL. Let the sleeping dogs lie. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Brenbner Changala. Today we were hosting Honorable Brenbner Changala, a civil society leader, and he's done very well. I didn't raise the issue of ECL deliberately, and I'm glad that he has offered his opinion. You are aware that there's a preliminary process in South Africa between the state, led by Secretary to Cabinet, and the family spokesperson, where they are trying to attempt to begin negotiations, and it's been a delicate period, and all of us have to help that process that they can begin the negotiations. It's for that reason. But Honorable Brenbner Changala has given very insightful remarks. Honorable Brenbner Changala, I would like to thank you for coming and for sacrificing. I know it's very late and you stay quite far. Thank you. Thank you for the sacrifices you do for our country. God bless you. Travel well. To you, dear listeners, tomorrow we have another guest. Andy Banda and his political party are holding a conference to prepare a leadership for 2026. And after they've elected, whichever leader they will elect, Andy Banda will be with us tomorrow at 20 hours. God bless you, and we'll speak to you tomorrow.
Abazunga batita katongi nagula kwibukiza kateka kaibukubuna kapona neseko syove pamenso yangwa maume maya kiyaba maume
kateka wabantu twakulira lelo twakulira kukonke milimo shore
ale filamba yena minta pengosile eti kumemo kulondolola vale lilo wingi
iseko wingi mwakwete iseko wingi mwakwete mwaya mwende wino tata wesu
katusi muchibokege mwali bomba kale nomba mwatuja tulelilake
Benda
sila kifuemo mingi tuwala baba dinotiwe nangu tulalaba uti tuwala baba nangu tulalaba mama nangu tulalaba ukula bebyo wati tobuingi ibisebo wapagiri obuingi ukuchinjo lusako kumoneko busaka mama uti tuwala basiyani